Is a stock Mark 8 GTI actually fun, especially in comparison to the Mark 7 and older platforms, since this is such a technology forward version of the car that does get a lot of flack for not feeling like a true GTI platform? We're gonna talk about what it's like as a baseline completely stock, how it is to live with, commute in, daily drive. Is it still fun? Does it feel quick? Does it feel slow? Do we need mods? Do we not? We're gonna talk about all those subjects, get your confidence up, because when you're searching and buying one of these cars, you might be considering one of the old ones because there's so much topic about how much these are different. They're either super loved and a lot of newer car enthusiasts definitely gravitate towards them for the looks, but if you dig into it further, you know, a lot of us older guys, me included, kind of lean towards this. But I actually am not quite sure what I should recommend, but there are a lot of things we can talk about. So let's get into it. If you're new here, my name's Cameron Alford. I'm all about helping you build confidence in the garage, spend more time enjoying cars, less time frustrated with them, and have some fun as car people together. Did you know that 80% of people watching this channel are not subscribed? The best free way to support this channel is to hit the subscribe button to do more videos. And this is a direct free way to support myself and my family, because I do this full time and dedicate my life to helping you have more fun in the garage, have more confidence. Thank you so much for your support and being a part of this channel's history. It means the world to me. Let's talk about the exterior first. They do look very similar. They do look like the same car, but they do look very different for the first time in a while. The Mark 8's a little bit more squared, a little bit more one piece looking. Mark 7 platforms and back are a little bit more early 2000s vibes, still have original GTI feel. The fog bezels feel a little bit more separated from the car, versus you come over here, you have less color going on, more of a monochromatic look, a more simplistic fog light, keeping the body lines and styling more Audi feeling in my opinion, versus Volkswagen. It's always kind of had its own taste. Now when you get to the back, this is where the Mark 8 shines in my opinion. I know this is gonna be controversial, but I'm part of the new gen Mark 8 gang. I just feel like it's more masculine looking. This is very original Golf, rounded back, more just old school feel, and a lot of people get frustrated with the new one. Even though it technically looks better, that doesn't mean it's always the right thing to do, per se, you could argue. A Mark 8 GTI might be the first really nice car you've owned, and it's not cheap. And if you want to keep it protected, if you want to make sure nothing weird happens and cover yourself if you do get into some trouble, I'm going to show you the G900 Wolfbox Dash Cam. This is a rear view mirror with a smart screen and a camera attached to it with voice command and all kinds of things. Let's open it up. This video was made possible because of Wolfbox. If you want a really high-end dash cam with a large image sensor with 4K, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi that connects to your phone so it's quick feedback, this is the one. Very much not your average dash cam. You can see the dash cam is on this 12-inch touchscreen rear view mirror, all in one. Head a little bit deeper in the box, everything's labeled. It includes a rear camera. You could use it as a backup camera or just to record the rear in case someone rear-ended you. Wire holders, organizers, power supply with the USB on the back so you don't lose that opportunity to charge a device, and it connects to the actual mirror itself with a USB-C cable. 90 degrees, so it's clean. Comes with a GPS, so it has data of where any recording was. Then it comes with these rubber straps to attach it to the stock rear view mirror, or you can go on their website and order the hard mount kit that fully replaces your rear view mirror so it looks as clean as possible, like an OEM fitment. Here it is attached. When the screen's off, it works just like a regular rear view mirror. Run your cables, you'll see very quickly in the setup how responsive it is. Right away, we have a nice view. Run the setup process on your phone, hit preview. You can see the video. You can see the video on your phone and access all the files so you can download something right away if it happens. You can tap this icon and see what all the voice commands are. Take picture, has a little sound effect. Turn off screen. You got your mirror back. Turn on screen. It's back on. Turn off recording. Stops recording. If you have passengers, you don't want to record a conversation or anything like that, turn on recording. You can see how easy it is to crop in and grab a license plate if something happens from this footage. If you want to adjust what's in view, you can adjust that angle since it can only show so much of the footage on this narrow screen. If you want to protect your car, have that extra layer of safety, a little extra piece of text, something cool, I'll have a link in the description. to Amazon and Wolfbox's website. They have a really good product page where you can read everything about it, even more detail. They have different versions with 3 cameras even. Thank you so much to Wolfbox for making this video possible. I use their products all the time. The air blower, the jump starters, the air compressor. These rear view mirrors are really cool technology. Let's jump back into the video. Let's look at side profile. They feel very close in size. Side profile and doors don't look too different in my opinion. The Mark 8 is slightly bigger looking from about here up. It just feels wider. And when you're inside this car versus that car, this one feels narrower when you're sitting inside of it, and this one feels more wide open and more or less I would consider claustrophobic if you had to coin it or put a word to it. When I have people in the car, I definitely enjoy the Mark 8 more. And when I have people in the Mark 7, it does feel like I'm a little bit tighter, breathing the same air, etc. I don't want you to get lost in the comparison aspect of these cars. It's just a really good way to drive some points home of what's different with the Mark 8 and what it's like to live with it, commute in it, know what to expect, like what am I missing out on or what am I gaining by choosing a Mark 8 over a Mark 7. When there's so much talk and love for the Mark 7 platform, you're like, it's a little bit cheaper, there's plenty of parts, a lot of cars on the market. This might be the difference between cash pay and financing for some of you, and my goal is to talk through all these subjects to help you figure those questions out and make those right decisions. Not for anybody else, but for you to take this information and make the best choice for you. We're done comparing them. That was just for the outside. Let's talk about the inside and the touch points of what it's like being in this car. And then when we start driving here in a sec, we'll talk about what it's like driving the car. Ergonomics feel of this interior, I do really like and enjoy. Why? For cars that are daily drivers and sporty, I love when dashes are kind of just this shape and high up, and you get a flat, nice, smooth view. It makes it feel sporty, it feels clean and simple. You kind of just have this block here, and it's a very simplistic cockpit feel, where in previous generations, it kind of just feels all blended together and it's all big one piece, but this does have a very simplistic, ergonomic feel. Everything's within reason. The e-brake being a button versus an actual physical e-brake, I do like because it makes this cleaner and more comfortable, but I don't like the lack of control. Sometimes with electronic e-brakes, there's some settings in here you can turn off and such, but sometimes you have to go and do an extra step of releasing the parking brake electronically with an OBD scan tool, and we can get into that when we do brakes in another video, but there is power in having that manual e-brake for control. This shifter, in my opinion, does feel a little bit too far away. Like, I feel like it should be like here, but maybe I just have really long legs and I'm too tall. But we'll talk about how it drives shortly. Everything down here is really comfortable. I have no complaints on the ergonomics and feel of it. Driving, we'll talk about it. Love the plaid seats, keeping that original. Love the mood lighting in here. Infotainment can be finicky, but it's not terrible with all the updates. I use corded Apple CarPlay, so it's quick, always consistent, and I just want to charge my phone anyways. I love everything about this display when we're driving, and overall, this interior makes the car very pleasant to daily. Our mechanical gauges and a little bit different ergonomics, more early 2000s vibe, kind of better when you're in the canyon driving and care about nothing else. Yeah, but all of this stuff makes the Mark 8 platform, in my opinion, the most comfortable daily driver of all the Golf platforms yet. Personal opinion, some may beg to differ, but as far as comfort and pleasure, this is the nicest one. And everything I mentioned about the ergonomics and stuff, it's a good setup car. Anything I mentioned is just stuff that came to mind. Is it something you could go super deep and critique like anything else? Yeah, I'm just mentioning things that come to my mind. But let's get some seat time together, and I want to walk you through everything that went through my head after I started dailying it, the things that came to my mind second, third, fourth day driving it. So the first thing is that the shifter feels pretty long compared to previous generations, and it does feel not numb at all. It doesn't feel numb in my opinion. One could say that, but you truly don't know what numb is until you drive like a 2018 M2 with a stock shifter. You're like, what? But this car has a little bit of notch feel to it, enough to exist, but just enough to go, this doesn't hit as good as the prior generations. So it can be kind of a subject of letdown. But then the follow-up thought is, once you get people out of your way, you get into it a little bit, you're like, dang, this thing's kind of quick. The Mark 7 platforms and everything prior to this, you get on it and start to have some fun, and you realize I'm trying to have more fun, but this car feels kind of slow. So unless you have curvy roads around you to carry a bunch of speed, up until this generation, it didn't do anything for me. This generation, like stock, I haven't even tuned it. I've had this car for a while. I'm sure you guys have been able to tell if you're keeping up with the uploads every week, and I still haven't tuned it. I haven't been in a rush to rush through these videos because I want to mod it really bad. I've genuinely been enjoying driving this car stock. It gets out of its own way plenty fast, and they really did make some good changes for this generation, and it gets out of its own way if it needs to. Is downshifting super satisfying on stock shifter? I think it needs some mods. I think we need a short shifter. I think we need some solid shifter bushings. Hopefully shorten the throw a little bit. We'll be getting into that this year. Yeah, swipe down on the screen. I don't love this ESC system. We'll go off. Like it's quick. You boost it up in first gear, it'll light these things up and do a burnout, as you could hear. Drop it down to second. Like it's enough to create torque steer. With all this technology, you turn off StabiliTrak, ESC, it'll start going all over the road. Not necessarily the case on prior generations. So like the Mark 8 is super on top in terms of speed out of the box. The interior feel, it feels very Audi. All the materials used, obviously they're the same company, but you got to think like prior generations, it didn't feel too much different, but you can really tell they made all these big changes when they went into this generation, and it feels really good. It feels quiet in here. There is this common rattle back here that, depending on the road, can happen and drive me crazy, and I need to pull the headliner out and fix it, whatever vibrated loose. But overall seating position for a hatch, you feel a little bit low, not too low. You can put the steering wheel kind of in your lap and relax and have good control with everything. I hate comparing it to the Mark 7, but what comes to mind is a Mark 8 fun GTI fun to drive? Is it fun to daily? 100%. It's the most fun it's ever been because the power's there. So even us guys that don't have a lot of corners in our city, like me, we're living in Phoenix, it's just all grid. It's fun because it's quick. It's fun because it's manual. It still feels sporty, but it has all the new technology in it. It's still a good blend of both, all things considered. If you are the enthusiast that really likes the most raw feeling car and you're debating, is the Mark 8 too technologically modern, too material and setup modern? Is it a little bit bigger of a feeling car and you don't like that? It definitely leans towards that. If it's all about spirited driving, all about raw feel, I think you're gonna be like on the more bummed side. I think if you're on the side of, I really need a comfortable daily and I like my car's comfortable, I like my tech, I still don't wanna sacrifice speed, I don't wanna sacrifice being connected to the car, it still checks all the boxes. In terms of driving spirited and more aggressive, if you're going out on a cruise with some friends on a Saturday morning, the car still turns in really quick. It's got plenty of power. It handles nights. It has a little bit of body roll, which we're gonna do some modifications to fix that like we always do. But overall, it will surprise you how capable it is stock. And the Mark 8 is no slouch. It's nothing short of that handling. I would say that I like how the front end handles better on the Mark 8 stock than the Mark 7. It turns in more aggressive. It stays planted. Does it feel like some drastic difference from the Mark 7? No. Does it feel like they're making subtle improvements? 100%. Let's pull it back in the shop, pop the hood. Let's talk about maintenance and making sure this thing stays running and reliable for you, because that is part of the fun with working on this car. And then maybe let's even talk about what it's like to modify this car, and is it fun to own in that term? And is modifying this thing a stressful experience while daily driving it? That is something to consider when you get a sports car, and that is something that I feel very passionate talking about this platform, and I have a lot to say. This engine platform, transmission, manual or dual clutch, automatic, are both proven. This is one of those cars that you can just drive and drive and drive and drive and do your oil changes, make sure your coolant level is good, and most owners are going to have an amazing experience. Now you get higher and higher miles, you might have some carbon buildup in the intake valves, motor mounts might start going bad, little things here and there. But the Mk8 platform is going to do you so right in terms of reliability because it's so proven, all the nice updates to the platform and the engine and the turbo and such with this version of the GTI. And when it comes to modifying, these cars are fun enough stock. It's easy to keep them stock a little longer, and it's just going to make you appreciate the mods that much more when you do get to it. And you see it on the channel. There's a reason tons of people own these things. There's a reason why all the mod videos get a lot of views. It is because these cars are fun to work on. They're easy to work on. They're straightforward. There's tons of videos. There's a lot of things that never changed in terms of like setup or even down to the exact spec. You want to talk about fun to drive, fun to own, fun to modify. Almost every piece on it. There are not many cars like the GTI because it literally checks all the boxes. And that's why I spend so much time talking about them. And that's why there's such a big community around them. It's not the flashiest thing. It's not super expensive compared to some other sports cars. It's not gonna be a car that the boys are gonna be like, oh my gosh, or girls are gonna be like, dude, like, you got a nice car, bro. It's like none of that. It's like literally you, the car, the mechanics, working on it, the feel of it, the price, value, power, the reliability. It's just such a jack of all trades car that's been proven year in, year out. So is the Mk8 GTI a fun car to drive stock? Yes, it's a blast. I believe it's the most fun version of the GTI to drive stock to this day, in my personal opinion. Because the power level, the seating position, it handles nice, it's predictable. In stock form, it's the best version. It is very arguable after it's fully modified. I have had enough experience around them that I can say that when you go back to some older models, fully modded versus the new ones, you might be like, the newer one's not as rowdy, but we're gonna modify this one together. We'll be talking about these subjects. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes. And if this is your first time seeing the Mk8 on this channel, I'm gonna leave the first video so you can go get caught up right here. And then I'll leave the next video here after it's uploaded. So if it's not there yet, make sure you subscribe, look out for it. See you there.